On a spiritual path, we talk a lot about awareness. I'd like to talk about it a little bit differently. Why a spiritual path can sometimes be so frustrating. There are times when we feel that we're just not getting anywhere, where we're just recycling and recycling through the same experiences inside of us again and again, or we are repeating the same words, the same stories, talking about the same memories. And there are times where we also feel like we're stuck and we're just not moving at all. Or maybe we're feeling the same thing again and again and again. We may be having different experiences, but it's almost as if whatever we are feeling and how we're reacting is on some kind of repeat. And one of the ways we can look at this is that our awareness didn't quite capture everything it needed to capture. Imagine that. Imagine that part of our job on a spiritual path is to gather all the information about what is happening to us inside of us in this moment, in its completeness, and from as many angles as necessary or that is important. So if we created an analogy of just looking at our life where we are now, not necessarily what we're experiencing inside, but what we're experiencing around us with as much clarity as possible. On a spiritual path, we're not necessarily going to, in one moment, see everything we need to see about something. It can be too shocking. It can uncover too many very, very intense emotions too fast. Might be too overwhelming for us. And this is where we can talk a little bit about why it is so important to have a lot of trust in ourselves and our path itself, and not judge ourselves harshly, but remember that there's a rhyme and a reason for what's happening, and that our job is to observe and to keep choosing a heart-centered step forward. So the instructions are very simple. The difficulty comes in all the different reactions that we have that makes it not easy for us to do. First, we want to rush the process. We want to get there already. Then we may become resentful of the process and say, hey, why do I have to do all this stuff anyway? Why do I care about what's inside of me or whatever? I just want to feel better. And then at that point, if we take a few steps outside of our path or backwards or whatever and try to do things to kind of suppress whatever we need to go through, then we know, all right, we're kind of on hold and we're going to have to reapproach if we want to grow. We can get stuck in becoming attached to a cycle of childhood memories or a cycle of a story about our identity that we just keep repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating, not realizing that the repeating itself is etching that reality deeper and deeper into our psyche, making it more difficult for us to actually release that particular belief about ourselves. So let's go back to awareness. Pull in some trust and say, okay, I trust the process, I trust myself. And what is it that I need to see right now in order to heal and in order to move forward? Trying to find the next shiny object that is outside of where you are is a detour. Trying to find a shortcut and imagine that you won't have to go through seeing everything is avoidance. Right now, your job is to, as often as you can, as clearly as you can, sit with yourself and map every experience you are having, every reactivity, every competitive thought or feeling, every jealousy thought and the feeling. Understand it more deeply. Ask yourself, what are all of the components and experiences of jealousy, and what is the point inside of me that gets activated and triggered in it? Looking around how you're feeling just about life and death, how you're feeling about where you are on your path. Imagine that right here, right now, your job is to just open all of your senses, every one, and create a almost hyper awareness of where you're at and what is happening. Thank you so much for being here. I love you.